Washington, D.C. is reeling from what can only be described as a digital age blunder of epic proportions. A security breach that exposed top level discussions on military strikes, global strategies, and of course, the usual round of emoji warfare. Thanks to a little mix up in the guest list, a journalist, Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic, was accidentally added to a Signal chat group that included Vice President JD Vance, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and the National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. And just like that, highly sensitive military strategies became first page news even before they hit their targets in Yemen. So, what are the five biggest takeaways from this embarrassing blunder? Let's break it down. Number one, the vice president thinks Trump is playing checkers, not chess. Let me explain. Among the top claims is that JD Vance's skepticism about the military strikes on Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen. Vance, what he thought was a private chat, questioned whether the attack was in America's best interest or just another case of Washington cleaning up Europe's mess. He even doubted whether Trump understood the full picture, saying, and I quote, "I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now." That's the diplomatic way of saying, does Trump even know what he just approved? Of course, after the leak, Vance's office quickly patched things up, assuring everyone that VP and Trump are in complete agreement, quote unquote. Number two, Europe, you are welcome again. If there is one thing this stat revealed, it's that top US officials are fed up with bailing out Europe. Vance once blunt about it. "I just hate bailing Europe out," he said. Defense Secretary Hegseth took it up a notch, calling European reliance on the United States, and I quote again, pathetic. Meanwhile, another participant, who was identified only as SN, floated the idea that America should demand payments from Europe for its military efforts because, nothing says strong alliance like sending an invoice after a missile attack. Well, one thing is clear, Trump's team sees foreign policy not as diplomacy, but as a business transaction. The problem? The rest of the world doesn't work like Trump Towers. Number three, the US government's response to crisis, emojis and prayers. Perhaps the most surreal part of this whole conversation. The post-strike reactions in the chat group. After the bombs dropped, Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, sent three emojis: a fist, an American flag, and fire. Meanwhile, Special Envoy Steve responded with prayers, a flexed bicep, and two more American flags. Because nothing reassures the American people that military operations are being handled with wisdom and caution, quite like a collection of emojis. And let's not forget JD Vance himself, who solemnly declared, and I quote, "I will say a prayer for victory." Who needs strategic planning when you have God and GIFs on your side? Number four, and this is the most important, when in doubt, blame Biden. Worried that the strikes could make Trump look inconsistent on foreign policy, the defense secretary quickly offered a brilliant solution. Just blame Biden. Hegseth suggested the messaging should be focused on 2 points. Biden failed, Iran funded. You have to admire the simplicity of it. Any situation, no matter how complex, can be boiled down to blaming the previous administration. Inflation? Biden. Ukraine? Biden. The Yankees losing? Probably Biden. This wasn't a hoax. This is our fifth point. Just pure unfiltered incompetence. At first, the journalist thought he was the victim of an elaborated prank. After all, who just accidentally invites a journalist into a confidential military discussion? But no, it was all real. Now, the scandal is putting National Security Advisor Mike Waltz under serious pressure with calls from Democrats for an urgent inquiry. Trump, of course, is playing his usual defense, saying he doesn't know anything about it. Meanwhile, Hegseth is trying to downplay the whole thing, claiming nobody was texting about the war plans, quote unquote. Right. Because discussing specific targets, weapons, and timings doesn't really count. If nothing else, this incident proves one thing: the world's most powerful military is being run like a high school group chat. From top officials venting about Europe like frustrated interns to high stakes war plans being reduced to emojis and blame shifting, this leak is nothing short of a national security disaster. Now, let's not forget the real kicker. If one journalist got in by mistake, how many other people might have been listening in before? This isn't just an embarrassing mistake, it's a wake up call that maybe, just maybe, world leaders shouldn't be discussing military actions on a messaging app. Think about it.